Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is your author Mark coming to you with another interesting discussion. Today's video, we're going to call this video's News, Views, and Reviews because I'm going to talk about several different topics today. And the topic that I want to talking about, that I want to start with, is inflation. Yes, we heard a lot of talking heads on Fox News Channel, on Newsmax, and all the other radio and TV stations, and they're saying that Donald Trump is going to bring down the inflation. Okay, he he may be able to do that, but what I'm saying is we have to look reality in the face, and that is that yes, inflation may calm down a little bit. The prices may drop a little bit here and there, but in reality, those days of cheap gas, cheap cars, cheap houses are over. And the reason for that is because, in my opinion, people have accepted the status quo. And here's how it works under from my analysis. And here's how it works from my analysis and my point of view. All right. Say, for example, somebody wants to buy a Chevy Suburban SUV. Okay. He goes to the Chevy dealership, the guy looks around, blah blah blah, looks at the sticker, looks at the mileage and all that stuff, and he goes to the sales manager, for example, and say, "How much do you want for this SUV?" Uh, and uh, and uh, the person that wants to buy the truck asks the manager, says to him, "How much you want for this truck?" And the sales manager looks at him, looks at his paperwork, all this wonderful things, and then he goes, $30,000. But instead of this person that's buying the the Chevy Suburban SUV, think for himself, well, I could have gone down to the other dealership down the street, and maybe I can get it for cheaper. But no, the sales manager says to the person that's buying the Chevy Suburban and says, "Whoopee! Here it is. I'm asking the asking price is 30,000." And but instead of that person saying no, that person that's buying the truck, instead of saying no, ladies and gentlemen, no, I'm not going to pay that particular price. I'm not paying $30,000 for that truck. The person that's buying the Chevy Suburban says, "Okay, whoop de doo, I'm willing to pay for that." For that Chevy Suburban $30,000, and then he hands the sales manager the check, and he walks away with the truck. But here's the thing: the sales manager and the owner of the dealership, they're saying, "Gee, if somebody is dumb enough to pay $30,000 for a truck, then we're gonna then we'll get a bunch of suckers, and guess what? We're gonna make a lot of money on them." Yeah, and then of course, this is an example how an inflation works, because there's no way that a used, mind you, used or new, well, new maybe, but a used Chevy SUV is not worth. It's not even worth $30,000. But because, see, and here's where I'm driving at when it comes to inflation. Because, in my opinion, people have accepted that, for example, a Chevy truck costs $30,000, and it's okay. The gas prices are $5, $6, even $10 in some in some cases $10 a gallon, and people have accepted. Now, yes, President Trump, in my opinion, can make certain maneuver to actually to try to lower the inflation, but for example, for in an example like I said in the truck example, if somebody's willing to pay $30,000 for a Chevy Suburban truck, then of course that particular dealer will jack up the price even higher, because then they're gonna say, oh, if somebody's willing to pay $30,000 for a Chevy Suburban, gee, next time I'm going to charge $40,000, and they'll pay for that too. Now, there's another issue. A lot of people saying that there's a shortage of housing. Housing is too expensive. The housing is too expensive. We can't afford houses. Okay, it works. It works the same way. Like, for example, because some real estate owner and somebody else says to himself, gee, I'm going to charge $1 million for a house. And he goes, the person who's selling the house goes to the real estate agent and says, I want $1 million for this house. And, whether they do a crooked deal or not, they're going to say, oh, gee, okay, you want $1 million for this house? Let's give it a shot, blah, 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 fix it all up. And they write up the paperwork, and it's out there, $1 million house. But see, here's how the houses may work a little bit more. Because say you get a dopey person, like a dopey husband and a dopey wife. And the dopey wife says to the dopey husband, says, honey, I want that house. But the husband says to the wife, well, that house cost $1 million, but that house has a pool, has everything. And she's like, oh, really? And the dopey husband says to the dopey wife says to the dopey husband, goes, honey, the wife goes, honey, this house is worth $1 million, but it's got a pool, it's got a car garage, but instead of thinking through a problem, can we really afford this particular house, and do we really have to spend $1 million on the house? Then they'll be. Instead of thinking, the husband is so dopey these days that he says to the wife, okay, honey, we'll get you the house. And then he puts out a cool $1 million for a house. Now, what I am driving with these two examples of Chevy Suburban truck, and the house is like that, yes, what I'm trying to say is, yes, President Trump can do certain things to try to stabilize the prices on food and everything else. But here's the bigger problem in this deal is that, in my opinion, the reason that we have such high inflation is that people have accepted the prices that are out there in the market. And, for example, because it became acceptable to the people that they're paying $30,000 for a Chevy truck or $1 million for a house with a swimming pool. So, yes, President Trump can do certain things, but the reason that we do have a high inflation is because people have accepted the prices that are being offered in the job market for the goods and services. Now, the next topic I want to talk about is the war in Ukraine. I'm going to give you a kind of Ukrainian war update on this thing. Now, I've been watching the news for a couple weeks now, and on Fox Business Network, they say that what's his name, Vladimir Zelensky and Vladimir Putin are going to negotiate. But let me tell you the truth about this is that, yes, Vladimir Zelensky is basically negotiating an exit strategy, because what he will do, the you know, what he wants to do is basically he wants to run away from Ukraine. Yes, he will. What he wants to do is, one way, he wants to save his face, but the second thing, he knows that the war is not winnable. So what Vladimir Zelensky is looking for, in my opinion, is basically an exit strategy. And I do talk to the Ukrainian people. I do talk to some Polish people. So those people understand the Slavic mindset. So what Vladimir Zelensky of Ukraine is doing is basically he's trying to basically basically abdicate the Ukrainian presidency and basically run to a country of his choice. And what he's going to do is he's going to leave the Ukrainian people hanging. Now, this thing has already happened once before in the year 1939, when the Allies left Poland, left Poland to fend for themselves during the invasion of Poland and Russia in 1939. Because those of you who know history, that Germany has invaded Poland in 1939, but also on September 17th, the Soviet Union has invaded Poland from the east. Now, I know that this Ukrainian conflict is a little bit different, but in reality, that's what Vladimir Zelensky is doing. He's basically trying to run away from his problems. But here's the problem: the people that are going to suffer because of this is the Ukrainian people and the Polish people. Because after Russia invades, after Russia has invaded Ukraine, and basically they will take over all of Ukraine, or they'll take over half of Ukraine and put their own puppet government in there. Then of course in reality Vladimir Zelensky is not going to suffer at all, because he's going to get on his little aeroplane, ladies and gentlemen, and he's going to fly to a warm country where he probably has a house by now that's worth billions of dollars, and he's all set for life. So he's not going to need Ukraine anymore. So when we hear that Vladimir Zelensky is negotiating with Vladimir Putin and trying to negotiate a peace settlement, no. What in my opinion, what Vladimir Zelensky is doing is trying to basically negotiate and find his own exit strategy. Because let's be brutally honest. People like Vladimir Zelensky do not care about the ordinary Ukrainian person. They don't. All he cares about is just making money. Make sure he's got full. His pockets are full of money, not the Ukrainian people. Now, I also have a question. There's another question with this Ukrainian war. I was wondering, has this invasion by Russia, has it been just to divide resources? Because from what I've been hearing is that America will be helping the Ukrainian oligarchs. Because I'm not even going to refer to President Zelensky anymore in this discussion. I'm just going to say America is going to help the oligarchs to basically dig for their natural resources like cobalt, like lithium, and all that stuff. So in reality, we have to ask ourselves the question: has this war been just about helping the Ukrainian resist the Russian invasion, or is this war in Ukraine all about resources such as lithium, cobalt, diamonds, and all the other precious metals? That's another thing, because I'm gonna end it with this. People like Zelensky or Vladimir Putin, they don't care about for example, Vladimir Putin doesn't care about the ordinary Russian person, or Vladimir Zelensky does not care about the ordinary Ukrainian person. He can care less. All he's worried about is how much he's going to make, and if he's going to be able to catch a flight out of Ukraine to a neutral country where he has his own house and he's going to live out his days in luxury. Because, in my opinion, there's no way that he's going to win a war with Russia at this point. And the reason that I say that he will not win at this point is because what we have to deal with, because most of you who do study the Ukrainian history and the Eastern European history know that the Eastern Bloc countries, whether Ukraine or any other Eastern European countries, are basically corrupt. And because of corruption, in my opinion, there's no way that Vladimir Zelensky is going to win this war in Ukraine. Now, if you guys like this video, then you can comment down below. You can give me thumbs up. You can get in touch with me in comments down below. You can also get in touch with me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I will see you in my next one.